Okay, the rules for modulation. Now, before I go through these few rules, just point out one more time, it's not cut and dry. Even if you follow all of the rules, somebody might analyze something as a tonicization and somebody else might analyze it as a modulation, and you might both be right. So this is one of those things where it really kind of comes down to the justification. If I asked somebody to analyze something and it was debatable, and it was on an exam in college, I might ask them to explain why they decided that it was a tonicization or why they decided it was a modulation. If they have a good answer, then they would be right, regardless of how they did it. So there can be situations where there's no correct answer and where both answers are correct. So that being said, here are the main things that we look for. Okay, so let's say we modulate to this new key right when we get there. Okay, right when we get to the new key, we don't know yet if it's a tonicization or if it's a modulation. The first thing that we might look for is see if there is some kind of predominant, dominant, tonic progression in the new key. Okay, so we're in the key of G and then we modulate to D. Does it do something in D and then go back to G? Or is there a predominant, dominant, tonic progression in the new key? So remember, that would be something like the most simple version of a predominant, dominant, tonic progression would be a 4-5-1 progression. Is there some kind of 4-5-1 in the new key? That would help to establish the new key, right? Because that 4-5-1 is going to really make that one feel like is going to make it really feel like tonic. So if there is a predominant, dominant, tonic progression in the new key, it points towards it being a modulation. Okay? If there is some kind of firm cadence, like a perfect authentic cadence in the new key, that would lead us to believe that it's a modulation as well. Typically, if something is a tonicization, we don't get a really strong cadence at any point in it. You might get one, but it's not super common to have one. So we look for some kind of really strong cadence. And then the third thing is some kind of extended progression in the new key. So not just a 5-1 in the new key, but some kind of longer progression that sticks to the new key, doesn't go outside of it very much, and really establishes the new key. So those three things are kind of our three rules for deciding if something is a modulation or a tonicization. So one more time. First thing, a predominant, dominant, tonic progression in the new key. Second thing, some kind of firm cadence in the new key. Third thing, some kind of extended progression in the new key. So it's not that it's a length of time that we're in the new key. That doesn't really tell us. Although if something goes to a new key and stays there for 5 minutes, it's probably a modulation. But the length of time is not exactly the best factor to figure out. Okay, so those are the main rules. Now, for the purposes of this section, we're not going to debate this topic very much. We're talking about modulation, so we're going to assume everything we do from here on out, until I say otherwise, is a modulation. Because we're going to be looking at short examples, right? Because I don't want to analyze an entire piece just to point out how we do a certain modulation. So everything that we're going to do, we're just going to say this is a modulation regardless of context. Because when we only look at a few bars of something, it's impossible to say whether it's a modulation or a tonicization, right? So for the purposes of this class, all of these are going to be modulations because I say they are. Cool? So just go with me on that so that we can find the best way to do some modulations. Okay, cool. Moving on.